getting some games in the win column. And as a coach, I think as a staff we've sort of reflected on that a bit and need to say to our kids, although it doesn't look perfect out there, we're getting some wins, and so need to be able to build them up that way, because we really are pushing for more perfection if that's possible. But so we have some areas that we definitely need to grow in and get better. But we were able to get a couple wins here in a row, and that's positive. So.
What areas do you need to grow?
Well, we need to be better defensively. We're just we give up a lot of points, no matter who we're playing. It's I think my team is more committed to the offensive end than they are to the defensive end, and I think they find that if they can get the scoring going, the defense isn't as much of a factor. I think if you watch the Notre Dame college game, we played defensively about the same in both halves. However, we scored it a lot better in the second half. So the defensive breakdowns weren't as glaring because they weren't as detrimental. It wasn't possession by possession. We ended up, gaining a lead. I would like for us to be better defensively, and we'll certainly continue to work on those things. But so that's one area. The other area is free throw shooting. We're not shooting free throws very well. So we need to do a better job of that. Those are two of the biggest things right now.
Like I said, a great second half against Notre Dame. How is she adjusting, or are you starting to see her adjustment after sitting a year? And now, because practice is one thing, playing in a game is another thing. Talk about how she's coming along now.
Well, one of the things that's really important when you are the one person who's stepping into a lineup, we have 4 returning starters, and she slid into that spot. It takes some time to, sort of gain the confidence of the other starters, and you're not sure what your role is because we have, our top 4 scorers back, and what is going to be her role as far as that is concerned. And as much as you say to these kids, like, don't worry about that, just play, they do worry about that. They're conscientious, about fitting in and being a part of something and not trying to overstep any bounds. And so I sort of saw her feeling her way that way, and I've asked her to step up and score more. Now, she had a good game, down in Florida when we played Florida Atlantic, and she did that within, the context of the offense, and she sort of had that breakout game with a double-double and scored the ball really well. And I think that there was some real comfort with the other kids about, okay, good, now we've got another player that can score it, and it takes some pressure off some other kids who have got to score. So then coming back in this game, we basically tossed our offense out the window in the second half of the Notre Dame college game, and we just played 4-on-1 and put her inside to start. And that's a good place, for us to play Imani also. But with that lineup, better for us to have Imani on the perimeter than Lex on the perimeter. It really becomes who's better on the perimeter, more so than who's better inside. And Lex had a really, got off to a quick start. We gave her the ball. They were playing behind, and just said, if you're not doubled, you've got to score it 1-on-1. And when she started hitting shots, they kind of started to step in, and she even split some defenders. She hit a couple people on the perimeter, but things started to click for us. And the more confidence that her teammates have in her, the better that's going to be for us in the long run, being a whole other option.
I take it that's probably not the way you want to play offense. Then, or could it be, or is that something you just don't want to go through?
I mean, we'll do whatever we need to do
Right,
to
yeah.
to win the games. And it's sort of funny. I sat in there at halftime and said, okay, so we're going to throw our offense out the window to try to win this game. And basically it was about that's really not the point. The point is that we needed to make an adjustment.
Right.
And what I was saying in the huddles was, how can we get the ball inside? What can we run to get the ball inside? Because we're running our backdoor cutting offense. It's not really conducive to post-ups. So, you know, we said, let's run the ball screen more and post up, or let's run a couple sets that get the ball inside. When the point was we could just put someone inside and give it to them. Why go through all the screening and passing it around when what we really ultimately want is to get one-on-one in the post? So it really wasn't about, you know, letting go of what we do. It was more about the most efficient way to get the ball where we wanted it. And this seemed to be it.
But then when you do that and you're scoring, the other team will start doing the hack-a-shack, you know, and they know you can't hit the free throws. So I don't like, what do you do for somebody like Amani to improve her free throw shooting?
Well, that's a good question. We shoot an awful lot of free throws, and we've been shooting free throws because I sort of felt that this is where this team needed to improve. And we charted them, and we had like a free throw ladder, and we're trying to get them to, you know, trying to get one kid to bump ahead of another kid, and, you know, we're making it very competitive, and then we give them 100 shots as a group, and they've got to hit 75 of them, and this type of thing, really charting it. What we're finding is that they're getting, you know, mental about it, and you can do that. You know, you can put them in a situation where it's not healthy, and you put too much emphasis on it, and all of a sudden, you know, it's like running kids for turnovers. You know, after a game, you say, okay, every time you turn the ball over, you're going to run, you know, in a game. So, you know, all of a sudden they're crazy about not turning the ball over, and then this becomes the entire thought process is I can't turn the ball over, so we have to run afterwards. So you don't, you know, my opinion is don't do those type of things. So what we're trying to do to help these kids, Imani is, you know, one of the people who's struggling at the free throw line, is not make it about the number that they make in practice. It's about taking lots of free throws. So we're just, you know, we sort of we've stopped charting it and just having them take the free throws. And yesterday, she shot free throws really well, but we weren't keeping track. I was keeping track, she wasn't keeping track, and we weren't keeping track as a group. So she felt less tension, and she shot them much better. So maybe this is the answer. We don't know. We're going to give it a shot.
Talk about Brooke's play and how much she has improved since her freshman year to this year.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it right away. This summer we went over to Italy. Could see how much she'd improved, and you know, her work ethic is better. She has a great ability to score, and wasn't really put in a position to do that much last year. So, you know, I mean, and we had a door that opened up for her, and she obviously needed to step up, and so two things happened. We're very grateful that she put herself in a position to be so successful by her off-season work, and number two, the window opening and giving her that opportunity to be, you know, the first player off the bench, gave her more freedom and, you know, a little bit longer leash, so to speak. So, and I think that's really helped her to grow. Luckily for us, she's really producing well.
I mean, this is 50% from the field, 75 from three-point range. Granted, these aren't large numbers, but still, from what she did last year, this is, I mean, you mentioned a huge improvement.
Absolutely, and then the other thing is, if you look at her assist-to-turnover ratio, she has 17 assists and 9 turnovers. You know, that's pretty good for someone who's taking care of the ball an awful lot. So, you know, I really think she sees the floor well. She plays well, you know, within our system and finds other people well. She's a good teammate, as well as, you know, having the ability to produce offensively as well. And she got really long arms. She's getting her hand on a lot of, you know, passes and so forth. So she gives us that as well.
I think I remember you saying that this is one of the deepest teams you've ever coached. I might have.
That's true.
Well, in that case, deeper down the bench, how's it looking so far?
Well, we've had a couple injuries, so you know, our deeper down the bench is younger kids now. You know, my 9 and 10 or 8 and 10 or kids are now 6 and 7. So it's depth is only there when you're not injured. So we're luckily we had some depth, and we've looked at some other kids as well that weren't getting minutes early on, like Allison and Krishna, who to get to that 10-player rotation. We've gotten to them, and I thought that they stepped up in the game against Notre Dame College. I thought Allison particularly played well, 7 points in 15 minutes, and hit a couple free throws for us, hit a 3, had an assist. I mean, she did a nice job out there.
How hard is it for, like, Allison and Krishna to play when, I'm sure they get a lot of time in practice, but the lights are on and you're called on and you haven't played much, and that is it difficult for them, and could they get in as part of the rotation on a more regular basis?
Well, until we get healthy, I think that's something that we're going to need to do, is to give them some time. And one of the things we give out a performance jersey, some performance jerseys after practice. The following practice after our game, we let kids wear performance jerseys for the chairman of the boards, for the person who got the most rebounds, and we have a jersey called +1. And after this game, Allison got the +1 jersey. That's just those things that maybe don't show up in the stat box, but something that a player did for the team that benefited the group. And the reason why Allison got the jersey this game is because she's reliable. She practices. Here's a kid who doesn't know if she's going to be in the next 5 games, but she practices the same every single day, whether she hasn't played a minute or and as I looked at the team statistics, I was surprised that this was the first game she played in. In my mind, I thought I had played her in other games, but she just waits for her opportunity, and when she goes in, you get the same thing from her. She's very reliable. She's going to be very consistent in what she can bring to us, and it'll always be effort. And she obviously she's a junior, so has the feel for what we're doing. So really, that's sort of a uncommon quality to have kids who it just doesn't really seem to faze them when the last time you used them. But when you call on them, they're ready to go, and there's, from a attitude standpoint, from an effort standpoint, it's you get the same thing. You get consistency, and that's hard to maintain when you're not getting in a lot of games. So a great quality to have, and that's something that Allison has always brought to this team. So Eastern Michigan is a team that came in here and beat us last year. They ran us out of the gym, played a fast-paced game, and we weren't prepared for that, type of pace. We saw that type of pace when we played at FAU, and we were on our heels. Got down 10-zip to start that game. If losing the FAU game should put us in a position to be more prepared for this game. We should learn from that and understand that they're going to be coming at us. They're very athletic and they're very aggressive and they shoot quickly. And we've got to box out and we've got to be prepared to contest early shots in the offense or in transition. I mean, they'll score 25 of their points in transition if they can. So we have to have that mentality. And coming off the game Saturday, we practiced. Yesterday, we'll go up there and practice today. We have quick turnarounds here. This is
Right.
3 games again in 6 days. So we've got to keep that in mind. But we need to be prepared for this type of aggressive offensive style and defensive style as well, because they like to get a lot of their easy baskets off of their defense. So we'll be prepared and hopefully we can control the tempo, because I really believe that FAU controlled the tempo on us.